You know, guys, to be completely honest, I was very skeptical when I received my Fokoos Odin-5 F3. Yeah, it's not Fokoos, or the company actually pronounces it Fokoos. You know, first of all, I was very impressed with the consumer grade packaging. You know, this is something that you might pick up in a retail store somewhere. So yeah, but you know, looks can be deceiving. Again, I was skeptical. Let's go take a look at the machine. First of all, the Fokoos was really well packaged, and it uses this unique folding frame to assist the builder with construction. In fact, everything is just shipped flat, where the gantry is just folded down. So all you really need to do is fold the frame up, 2 bolts here and 2 bolts here, and you're basically ready to go. I actually had mine ready to go in about 10 minutes. Of course, I had to plug in this cable here, this flat cable, and I was 100% ready to go in 10 minutes. Well, I'll accept this here. This is the filament holder, and as you can see, it uses some of the nuts that are down. You can see some nuts down in the rail. So I had to put 2 of the sliding nuts in here and attach these 2 bolts, and of course this guy right here comes out, so you'll have to put that in there. This is a little flimsy. I would have liked to have seen this a little bit, you know, more heavy duty, but haven't really had any issues with the filament holder. One of the first things I noticed about the Odin is that it is solid. I mean, the frame and the case are heavy. They're extremely well built. The X gantry is seated. It requires no adjustment. Everything is super solid. I really like the split Y carriage, just because if you've noticed on some other 3D printers, there's usually a single rail, but this dude, I mean, is super stable. How you adjust the tension of your belt is this single bolt right here to adjust the tension. Again, as you can see, they've used some pretty high quality springs on the adjustable bed. The knobs are really nice. I really didn't have to adjust the bed. In fact, what you'll want to do is kind of a tip and trick. Once you get your new 3D printer in, it doesn't really matter the manufacturer. You'll want to try to move your bed and try to twist it from side to side to see if there's any twisting motion, because what you'll have to do is you'll have to go up under here and find the eccentric nut. And you can tell which one is the eccentric nut by looking under here, and you'll see usually the eccentric nuts are the ones that have the sides that will fit your wrench. Notice these bolts over here are completely smooth, and you won't be able to get a wrench around those, but you will be able to get a wrench around these. Those are your eccentric nuts. So if you have any play in your bed whatsoever, it's the first thing I check before I print anything, is make sure there is no play in this bed. Adjust those eccentric nuts. You want to make sure they're not super tight. What you'll want to be able to do is tip up your printer like so, and if the bed slides back on its own like that, you'll know that the tension is adjusted perfectly. If it hesitates to slide, or if you feel any roughness as you're moving it back and forth, your eccentric nuts are probably set too tight, and those wheels are pushing up against this rail too tightly, and you want to adjust it to where when you tip the printer back and forth, the bed slides smoothly. Same way with your extruder. If you tip it up, you'll want to make sure that it rolls smoothly as well. And there is an eccentric nut on this one as well. And this is another thing that I check, I believe, on this one. Again, notice at the top, these 2 shafts here on the bolts are smooth, and the one down here on the bottom is, one on here on the bottom is not. You can see that. That's your eccentric nut. So that is if this guy here, you don't want to have any shimmy, shaking, What you'll want to do is you'll want to tip it to the side, make sure there's no grabbing or hesitation. It goes on its own. That shows you that your hot end and your extruder can move back smoothly along the X-axis here. Again, I'm not a super big fan of this glass ultra base type material. What I find is over time I have issues with my filament sticking. No, I mean, and no matter what I've done, I mean, I've cleaned it with alcohol, I've cleaned it with soap and water, and I'm still having issues with sticking. So what I'll use is an Elmer's purple glue stick. It looks kind of messy up here, but the Elmer's purple glue stick, you could probably use hairspray as well, will allow your prints to stick much better. What I will probably do is swap this out for a magnetic build plate with a PEI removable sheet. It's real easy to remove this bed. There are these clips here. You can see I can just remove them one-handed. This is just a simple little metal clip. There's 4 of them around here. They just snap on there. It really makes it easy to remove this glass bed. The hot end is an E3D Volcano style hot end. They give you a couple of spares in the boxo parts and stuff. I really like this silicone sock here because it really keeps the filament. If you have an issue with, you have a failure and the filament starts blobbing up and cakes around your hot end, and you guys know who you are out there, because I've had it happen to be on my Prusa Mark III, and it was a not pretty sight coming home to this big giant blob of filament. What I like is this hot end is very easy to see, and usually that really helps with that first layer when it starts getting pushed down. A lot of times your hot end is hidden and you really can't get under there. You're getting under there with your flashlight of your cell phone and you're trying to see it lay down. This is very, very easy to see, and I really like that. The direct drive extruder is a nice touch with auto loading and unloading. We'll look at that in just a moment here. This small block here is actually a button that compresses a spring in the direct drive, although it's really not obvious and it's quite difficult to push, but that actually will move the gear and allow you to insert your filament a little bit easier if you're having issues with this. As you can see, this cover is a little loosey-goosey here, is because I've removed 3 of the bolts. There's 2 here, or actually 1 here, 2 on the side. This is a press to fit ribbon cable. You just remove that. I leave my cover off because I kind of like to see what's going on here. The small cooling fan is, in my opinion, a bit inadequate, and I would have liked to have seen at least another fan maybe mounted on the back side, because the way this small fan really does not do, I mean, it does an okay job of cooling, but for some prints that have large overhangs and you want that extra cooling, if as a suggestion to Fokoos, I would have liked to have seen either a beefier fan or maybe another fan to focus a little bit more air on cooling the print. I really like the ZAxis on the Fokoos Odin. They use a bearings. Looks like they're using some bearings to capture the Z rod at the top here, and they are just, looks like just snap fit into here, so you don't have any excess shaking of the Z-axis. So when I buy a car, I always look under the hood, and the Fokoos Odin is no different. You're going to need a 3mm and a 2.5mm Allen wrench. Around the feet are the 3mm bolts, which there are 4. Then you have the 2.5mm bolts. Let's get into it. So the first thing I noticed right off the bat is the fantastic job that Fokoos did with the wiring. Check out those ferrules. What is a ferrule, you might ask? It's basically a crimped connector on the end of the wires that go into your terminal block on the main board. These do a great job of preventing excess heat, which can possibly lead to a burned connector or worse. For a more in-depth analysis on ferrules and 3D printers, go check out Brian's video on installing ferrules over on the BV3D channel. I'll put a link in the description below. The main board is an MKS Robin Nano version 1.2 with a 32-bit ARM processor. You've got your 4 TMC 2209 Trinamic stepper drivers, which make for some nice quiet printing. What's really nice about these stepper drivers is there's a little Phillips screw head in there that you can remove, and so these stepper drivers are removable, so if any of these guys go out, they are easily replaceable because they are not soldered onto the board. So for you DIYers out there, right up in the upper right corner is a Wi-Fi port, which takes the standard MKS EPS12S breakout board. Check that out. Now there's a little spot right in here next to one of the drivers. That is right in there is a spot for a BL Touch. Power supply is a Changliang 240 watt 24 volt power supply. These are pretty popular. I've seen these particular power supplies in a lot of 3D printers, and it tends to be a pretty good brand. So how does the Fokoos Odin print? I'm glad you asked. This particular model is the Star Wars Empire tall can holder. Check out the resolution on this bad boy. There is absolutely no ghosting. It took, this was about 16, 17 hours at 0.12 resolution. I had no issues whatsoever. Smooth, smooth, smooth. Speaking of Star Wars, I absolutely love this XWing model by Fab 365. Now, as you can see, I printed it in different colors of filament, but it closes up, it opens up. This is an awesome model by Fab 365. I will put links in the description below. I printed this at 0.12 resolution, and as you can see, it turned out fantastically. I absolutely love these models. Hey, check this out. It's the Drippy paint bucket. Again, printed on the Fokoos Odin. This is printed in one color. Print them in whatever colors you want. This just snaps on, and I printed this handle in white. But again, look at the print quality. I'm telling you, for an inexpensive printer, the Odin here is really knocking it out of the park, and I really love this model. I found this over on the Prusa forum. I will put links in the description below to the Drippy Bucket. This is a little bomb potion bottle from Ars Moriendi, and check it out. The resolution is just awesome on here. Those little dinks and dings are actually part of the model, and this little fuse guy here just it's like a little lid. It comes off, so you can store dice or whatever you'd like to in this little bottle. Cool, huh? So you're probably asking yourself, well, Mr. 3D Print Farmer, what happens if my Fokoos Odin breaks? That's a great question. Check this out. So are you worried about technical support? I joined the very active Fokoos Facebook group, which is monitored by Fokoos for Issues. Even though I've had zero problems, technical support is handled professionally, and parts, if any are needed, are sent out quickly to remedy anything that would befall your printer. In fact, they're getting set up where most parts are available on Amazon for even speedier service. There are also several folks on the board that are very well versed in open source coding on the Odin and are actively creating new code. Once again, thanks for joining us here on 3D Print Farm. I hope you enjoyed yourself. I know I did. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comments below. I would be more than glad to answer those. If you are interested in any of the models from this video, I will put links in the description below to the STL files. If you are interested in purchasing a Fokoos Odin, I will put links in the description below. In fact, if you go out to Amazon, you can save a few bucks with their clippable coupon. Hope you guys have a great afternoon, and we'll see you again next time on 3D Print Farm. Bye now. I got barking dogs. I got cicadas. I got barking dogs. I got cicadas. I got barking dogs. I got cicadas. Guess it's time to go. We'll see you again next time on 3D Print Farm.